What if the best quarterback on your team wasn't even allowed to compete? Not injured, not struggling, just ignored. That's been the story of Shadour Sanders in Cleveland. He's been showing up, grinding, doing everything you'd expect from a future NFL starter except getting the chance to prove it. And behind closed doors, people are starting to ask the question no one in the Browns organization seems ready to answer. Why has Shedeur been kept in the shadows? And who's been making sure he stays there? Because when Kevin Stefanski kept hiding behind excuses, injury reports, he's not ready, politics as usual, it looked like business as usual. But then Tommy Rees walked into the building. And in less than 24 hours, everything changed. No more hiding, no more games. He said 5 words that flipped the entire franchise: get Shedeur with the ones. And just like that, the truth started leaking out. This isn't just about a rookie quarterback getting a shot. This is about power, politics, and the quiet quarterback takeover nobody saw coming until now. While the world obsessed over names like Dillon Gabriel and speculated about Cleveland's next move, Shadour Sanders kept his head down. No press conferences, no cryptic tweets, no drama. Just film sessions, weight room workouts, and late nights diving into the playbook like a guy already leading a team, even though the team hadn't picked him yet. From day one, you could feel it if you were paying attention. Shedeur wasn't carrying himself like a backup. He wasn't acting like a rookie waiting in line. He practiced like someone who knew his time would come and wanted to be dangerous when it did. Word started to leak from the locker room. Quiet things. His accuracy in drills, his command in meetings, how even vets were starting to take notice. But outside those walls? Silence. No quotes from coach. No public praise from the staff. If you believe the pressers, you'd think he barely existed. Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. And that's what's wild, because when you looked around the league, other young QBs were getting their shots ready or not. But in Cleveland, it was like there was a glass ceiling no one wanted to talk about. People started asking, was it personal? Was it political? Because at some point, being ignored stops looking accidental, especially when the guy being overlooked is outworking most of the room and staying humble while doing it. Shedeur was doing all the right things, but the door stayed closed. No reps with the ones. No real competition. Just recycled talking points about development and injury protocols. But here's the truth. Fans could see before the media ever acknowledged it. This wasn't about readiness. This was about resistance. Resistance to change. Resistance to challenge. And maybe resistance to being proven wrong. But Shedeur never called it out. He just kept grinding, kept learning, kept waiting. And when the opportunity finally came, he didn't blink. Tommy Rees didn't walk in with noise. He didn't drop quotes or fire off passive-aggressive jabs at the last regime. He let his first move do all the talking. Get Shedeur with the ones. 5 words. That's it. No drama, no debate, just a decision that made it crystal clear. The politics were over. Reese wasn't here to protect feelings. He was here to fix what was broken. And the team felt it instantly. Practice wasn't just sharper, it was alive. Tempo picked up. Guys started flying around. The offense, which had looked half asleep for weeks, suddenly had rhythm, pulse, confidence. It wasn't just about giving Shedeur reps, it was about sending a message. All that talent you're ignoring? Not anymore. It was bold. It was fast. And it was a direct shot at everything Kevin Stefanski had spent the year dancing around. Shedeur went from invisible to undeniable in a single day, not because the talent changed, but because someone finally had the guts to acknowledge it. And the response? Immediate. Players bought in. You could see it on their faces after practice. The body language shifted, the sideline chatter got louder, more focused. It felt like hope crept back into the building. Because when your team sees leadership that rewards work instead of reputation, it changes things. Reese didn't pull Shedeur aside for a heart-to-heart. He didn't ease him in with split reps or see-how-it-goes energy. He threw him in and trusted the preparation. That kind of trust speaks volumes inside a locker room. You think those players didn't notice the shift? You think the vets didn't catch how fast the tone changed? The team wasn't just reacting to a quarterback change. They were reacting to a culture shift. And that shift wasn't loud, but it was clear. Tommy Rees wasn't running the same system. He was running a message. Play the best player. Period. While Tommy Rees was commanding the locker room with silence and action, Kevin Stefanski was doing the exact opposite. Press conference after press conference, he sidestepped every question about Shadour Sanders like the kid wasn't even on the roster. When finally pressed for an answer, the excuse came fast. He's dealing with a back issue. A back issue? Fans weren't buying it. Reporters raised eyebrows. Because this so-called injured quarterback was out at practice throwing ropes, leading workouts, diving into film. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel showed up on tape missing short reads and airmailing deep balls to invisible receivers. If you watched the Patriots game, you saw it. The red zone drives were stalling, the rhythm was broken, the offense looked stale, predictable, mechanical. But Stefanski? He stood behind it all like nothing was wrong. That's when fans started connecting dots. This wasn't just about a quarterback depth chart anymore. This was about pride. About control. About a coach refusing to admit his guy wasn't getting it done. And that's what made the back injury story so insulting. Because when Reese took over and immediately moved Shedeur up, no hesitation, no restrictions, it ripped the curtain right off the narrative Stefanski had been selling for weeks. So what changed? Did Shedeur's back magically heal overnight? Or did somebody finally get brave enough to stop playing games? The truth started leaking through the cracks. You can't say a guy's not ready when he's throwing every day. You can't say he's hurt when coaches and teammates are watching him run full walkthroughs and film study like a starter. It stopped looking like caution and started smelling like cover-up. The locker room noticed. The fans noticed. The media noticed. And worst of all for Stefanski, Shedeur noticed too. Because there's a difference between protecting a young quarterback and hiding one. And when Tommy Rees gave Shedeur the shot Stefanski wouldn't, it didn't just expose what was happening. It made people start asking what else had been hidden. There's one thing you can't fake in the NFL. The locker room vibe. Coaches can spin narratives, front offices can push PR. But when players start speaking out, especially the leaders, the truth breaks through. That's exactly what happened in Cleveland. Because the moment Kevin Stefanski's quarterback decision started holding the offense back, the silence inside the building snapped. And it wasn't just whispers. Myles Garrett, the face of the defense, the emotional anchor of the entire locker room, started making noise. Not about scheme. Not about play calls. He started calling out the offense. Publicly. You don't see that often. When your best player on the defensive side starts criticizing decisions being made on the other side of the ball, that's not frustration. That's mutiny. And he wasn't alone. Garrett Bush went on air and flat out said what fans had been yelling for weeks. This offense is broken. The film said it. The fans felt it. The players knew it. And still, Stefanski kept pretending everything was fine. He kept defending Dillon Gabriel like the numbers didn't exist, like the third down failures weren't real, like fans didn't just sit through another game where the defense gave them a chance, and the offense gave it right back. It wasn't about having a bad day anymore, it was about accountability. And what this team saw in Stefanski was a man refusing to take any. Meanwhile, in the same building, Tommy Rees was doing the opposite. Talking less, doing more. Giving reps where they were earned, letting play dictate position. And the team responded, not just by performing, but by believing. Because the moment a coach listens to his players instead of his ego, that's the moment a team starts fighting for him. Stefanski lost the room without even realizing it. By the time he was explaining away Shedeur's absence with medical reports, no one believed the real story had already taken hold. The locker room didn't trust the offense anymore. And they were starting to wonder if they could even trust the guy running it. At some point, the tape doesn't lie, but the people in charge still do. Week after week, Dillon Gabriel put up the same patterns. Missed windows, off-timed throws, stalled red zone drives. And yet, every postgame, Kevin Stefanski stood at the podium like a man watching a different game entirely. It became obvious this wasn't about merit. It was about momentum, and the one thing Stfansky couldn't afford, being proven wrong. Because if Shadour Sanders stepped in and the offense took off, the narrative flips. The questions start. The spotlight turns. So Stefanski doubled down. He called it loyalty, developing talent, playing the guys who give them the best chance. But here's the truth. He wasn't protecting his quarterback, he was protecting himself. This was no longer football. It was politics. The kind that values optics over outcomes. The kind where the best player sits because he didn't come up through the right channel. The kind where quiet leadership and elite preparation isn't enough unless it fits someone else's timeline. And that's the part that really lit a fire in fans. Because they weren't just watching a struggling offense, they were watching a young QB who did everything right be overlooked repeatedly. Shedeur didn't ask for the job. He earned the respect, and still, he stayed behind a wall none of us could see until Reese showed up and tore it down. You think that kind of change doesn't get noticed? The moment Shedeur moved up, the offense came alive. Rhythm returned. The huddle looked different. The route timing was tight. The ball placement was clean. It was like looking at a version of the Browns that fans hadn't seen in years, one that didn't feel cautious, clunky, and confused. It felt aggressive, free, real. Tommy Rees didn't hesitate. He didn't toy with politics. He saw the best player and said, "Let's go win with him." And just like that, everything we thought we knew about this franchise, its leadership, its culture, its direction was flipped on its head. This wasn't about a depth chart anymore. It was about identity. The one thing every coach fears is the film. Because the film doesn't care about your title, your press conference answers, or who you named the starter in August. The film tells the truth, and when Tommy Rees rolled that tape, he didn't sugarcoat what he saw. Dylan Gabriel wasn't just off, he was out of sync with the entire offense. Late on reads, drifting in the pocket, breaking timing in the red zone. One play, he'd float a deep ball into double coverage, the next he'd miss a wide-open checkdown. It wasn't isolated, it was patterned. And patterns don't lie. That Patriots game? People called it bad luck. Reese called it what it was. Bad quarterbacking. So he did what Stefanski wouldn't. He made a change. And he didn't do it with speeches, he did it with action. Shedeur got the reps, the real ones. Not scout team. Not end of practice leftovers. Ones with the starters. In tempo. In rhythm. In situations that matter. Because Reese knew something every great coach figures out fast. Production always chased preparation. And Shadour Sanders had been preparing like a starter since the day he walked in. This wasn't a courtesy promotion. It wasn't, let's see what the kid can do. It was a message to the entire locker room. We're done pretending. And the difference was obvious. Practice got sharper. Huddle communication got quicker. Receivers were finishing routes harder. It wasn't just better execution, it was belief. Because as soon as the team saw Reese reward performance over politics, they started buying in fast. And for the first time all season, the Browns' offense looked like a unit that actually knew what it wanted to be. The timing matched the intention. The quarterback matched the film study. It was working because the right guy was finally being trusted to lead it. Tommy Rees wasn't building Shedeur up, he was setting him free. By the time Shadour Sanders stepped in and things started clicking, it was already too late for Kevin Stefanski. Not too late to win games, too late to hide. For weeks, he pushed the back injury excuse anytime reporters asked why Shedeur wasn't getting reps. But all it took was Tommy Rees walking in and immediately moving Shedeur up the depth chart to blow that lie wide open. So what changed? Did Shedeur suddenly get healthy overnight? Or did the truth finally walk into the room and tell everyone what they already suspected? This wasn't about health, it was about control. Control over the narrative, over the system, over the perception that Stfansky had been making the right calls all along. And when that illusion shattered, so did his credibility. Because fans aren't naive anymore. They don't just watch touchdowns. They watch body language, practice clips, sideline energy. And from the moment Reese gave Shedeur the green light, it became obvious. He should have been playing all along. So then the next question became, why wasn't he? And once you're asking that, dangerous territory starts creeping in. Was it ego? Was it favoritism? Was Stefanski protecting his hand-picked guy even as the team kept falling flat? Because listen, you can bench a player. You can even bench a good one. But when you bury a guy like Shadour Sanders, who's been outworking, outsmarting, and outplaying for months behind the curtain, you're not just hiding talent. You're hiding something else. And the entire locker room starts to feel it. Especially when the guy you're defending keeps making the same mistakes, and the guy you're ignoring keeps getting it done in silence. Tommy Rees didn't just expose a quarterback controversy, he revealed a leadership vacuum. A coach who seemed more concerned with saving face than saving the season. And when Shedeur finally steps onto that field as QB1, Stefanski's going to have to answer a much harder question than, why now? He's going to have to answer why not then. Because the only thing that looks injured now is his reputation. Cleveland didn't just get a quarterback controversy. They got a front row seat to a full-blown identity crisis. Because what started as a quiet internal shift, a few reps here, a player stepping up there has turned into something that can't be ignored anymore. Not by fans, not by teammates, not by anyone in charge. The future is speaking. Loudly. And it sounds a lot like Shadour Sanders. You can feel it in practice. You can hear it on the field. When the ball leaves his hand, the rhythm changes not just in the offense, but in the energy of the team. Routes are tighter. Confidence is sharper. The hesitation, the fear of failure that used to haunt this unit, gone. Because when the right leader starts pulling the strings, everyone else starts believing again. And belief has been missing in Cleveland for a long time. That's why Tommy Rees's arrival hit different. He didn't just adjust the play calling or freshen up schemes. He stepped through the fog that Stefanski had left behind and brought clarity. Reese isn't out here throwing press-friendly quotes or protecting his pride at all costs. He's doing something way more dangerous. He's trusting production over politics. And in return, he's getting something no coach in this building has had in years: buy-in from the players who matter. Because when your franchise faces of defense, guys like Myles Garrett start publicly calling out the offense, that's not noise. It's a warning. It means the house is on fire. And Stefanski, instead of grabbing a hose, he lit another match. Still backing Gabriel. Still shutting out Shedeur. Still trying to convince people the film was lying, the locker room was mistaken, and the fans just didn't get it. But everyone gets it now. This isn't just about missed reads or touchdowns left on the field. It's about fear, the fear of being proven wrong, the fear of giving up control, the fear of change. And it's the same fear that's lost Stefanski the trust of his team. Meanwhile, Shedeur hasn't asked for anything. He's just waited, prepared, and executed when the moment came. No headlines, no talking back, no friction. Just film. Just performance. Just readiness. That's not a backup mentality. That's not a project. That's a franchise quarterback mindset. Now, with every rep Shedeur takes, the Browns are being forced to confront a future they tried to delay. But the future doesn't wait. It doesn't ask for permission. It shows up. And when this kid finally gets his first NFL start, don't be surprised if everything looks different. Not just the offense, but the atmosphere. The poise. The purpose. Because this wasn't just about filling in a depth chart. It was about lighting a fire under a broken franchise and replacing excuses with action. Shadour Sanders didn't take power. He earned it. And now he's ready to run with it. If you're still defending the old decisions, the old system, the old excuses, maybe you're not watching the same team anymore. Because the Browns' identity crisis is over. And a new era didn't begin with a speech. It started with a rep, a spiral, one quarterback, and the coach who finally bet on him. You're ready to see Shedeur start now, not next year, not when he's ready, but today. Drop a comment. S100. And hit that like button if you're done watching this team run in circles. Cleveland's been waiting for a leader. Now they've got one.